Something, say something, say something, say something, say something, say something.
Wow.
Hey, John.
Yeah.
I think,
Edit
you should
there.
I think you should say something, dude.
I'll say something tonight.
I don't wanna get caught up in the rhythm of it.
I didn't watch this halftime. John, edit here.
What? Wait a
Hello.
second. John, you
You're
didn't watch
doing
the
this every
halftime?
time now. Every time this year so far, you've cut me off on that edit
You
here. Okay, go ahead.
totally missed me. I was in the Super Bowl ad.
Were you in the Super Bowl ad again?
No.
Oh yeah,
No, I
I
wasn't.
forgot. Now I'm gonna totally make fun of you for it.
No, I can't help
Good.
myself. No, no.
Sounds good. I like
my
it.
head with my vertigo.
I can't help myself.
That's good stuff.
John edit here. Hello and welcome to Techlandia. How are you doing today? It's John Samuelson on Super Bowl Sunday, Portland, Oregon, where we kind of watched the Super Bowl. I think I kind of watched the Super Bowl. I was kind of interested, not really. I know that I only beat one person in our Super Bowl fantasy football this year, and that person is in SoCal, and his name is...
Was it me? I didn't even pay
It was
attention,
you.
John.
You finished last.
Tim Bedley. Out of how many? 4 people? Just kidding.
Out of 4 people. That's correct. 4. You finished 4th. You were in 3rd place. I was in 4th. I tried for the strong comeback and quadruple points in the Super Bowl, and it just didn't matter.
I'll put me in a
It's too
fantasy baseball league. I'll crush it.
Oh, I bet you would. I bet you would. I would.
By
Just
the
thinking, I
way,
would kind of
Mike Trout in the audience at Super
Saw
Bowl
that.
tonight.
saw that.
Enjoying
He's a
his
big Eagles
team
fan.
in victory. Yeah.
Yeah, look at that, Trouty.
Trout.
Anyway,
massive.
how do we always start off on sports? Ann Jenks is not happy with us when we start off with sports.
John, it's Super Bowl Sunday, bro.
Okay, the Super Bowl.
How do we not? That's like, how do you not start off with Bitcoin taking a just big drop?
Yeah, well, when you don't have any money, it's easy to not even. So
Because you
anyway,
didn't invest in Bitcoin.
that's right. I didn't invest in Bitcoin. I did invest in this over the weekend for the TV viewers. It's Lego Series 2 Batman figures. I invested in a few, and we got pretty good. We only had 2 doubles
Well
out of
done.
13. Here's a little Batgirl with surfboard. Kind of cool.
Very cool. Very cool.
It is. We didn't get to go. I wanted one with a dolphin, but I couldn't get the dolphin one. Somebody had already picked through those. I hate when people pick through the Lego figures. Little middle. You have to kind of like feel.
Who doesn't
the
want one with a
packages.
dolphin, though?
I know. Well, if a dolphin's the prop, I totally want that one.
That's
Gosh
right.
darn it. I should have looked through them.
Yeah.
They were like totally picked through at Fred Meyer.
It'll be
All
on
right.
Amazon.
Well,
in a week.
I know. I'll just have to go in and cash them in at Lego Bricks and Minifigs. I'll pay a premium. I'll have to pay double for it or something. Whole $8. Anyway, hey, it's the grumpy. It's my favorite month, Scott. February, my favorite month of the year. That is sarcasm. I hate February.
John, I really like February, actually, because my favorite day is this Wednesday, the first Wednesday of February. Every first Wednesday of February, John, it's Global School
Play Day.
Yes. Over, John. Over
how
first
many
of all,
people?
can I say something? Because I went off on this
No.
on Facebook, and I
Okay.
never say stuff on Facebook, but
Okay.
we all of us who have a voice need to stand up against the pressure that kids are under, that's sending them to make choices, to do things like end their lives. And I'm getting really serious right here, John, but if we don't stand up and start saying things, like, I just don't understand why more educators who have platforms, who have voices, who have the means to share out there are not standing up for all the wrong things that are happening in education. And I'm not saying that it's all teachers' faults or something crazy like that. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying we have to start standing up to universities or whoever and saying, like, the pressure has to stop. You know, a little pressure is good, but a lot just crushes people.
I read your post. I mean, I read what you said about the post, and then I read the article that was shared about the young boy that he was right over by you, right? That took his own life. He was right over from Irvine, and
20 minutes from me. 20 minutes from
and
me. Maybe
I
15, John.
yeah, I read the letters
Sean
they're
Zebarth's brother teaches. Chris teaches at that school.
It was,
and it's happened in my district. It's happened in districts in Northern Cal. It's happening more often than it's getting reported on.
right. I mean, why aren't more people understanding that all this pressure for standardized testing, I mean, it gets to the teachers. It's obviously going to filter down to the students. I mean, we're stupid if we don't think that even when I used to teach fourth grade, that those kids don't feel the pressure that like I feel because some silly test dictated by how they feel when they get up that day. I'm actually going to, you know that speaking of silly things, do you know that my 6th grade son that has autism and operates probably about a 2nd or 3rd grade level, depending on what day how he wakes up, they're making him take the SBAC test. He is not even getting any accommodations whatsoever. He's taking the 6th grade SBAC test. Well, of course I'm going to opt out, but they told me that they're like, he doesn't really get any accommodations or anything. So yeah, of course I'm going to opt him out. That's the dumbest thing ever. If I wanted to set my son off and make him even more frustrated than he is, but yeah, so I'm opting him out. But I just thought they told me that today. They're like, he doesn't get his, because it's the whole elementary to middle school now. And I'm like, wow.
John, we just had our most recent Medley Brothers we just had Dr. Daniel Koretz of Harvard University who just recently released his book, The Testing Charade. And it goes into all of this. It goes into, and this guy, he's awesome. He's awesome, first of all. But he really details why standardized testing is so unhealthy and is so false at showing actual progress and gap closing. And it's just a really amazing book that, if you're a reader, go out and check that book out because it's going to change your thoughts if you don't already feel this way about standardized testing.
The educational book, huh?
Don't get
me started on the educational books, Scott. I'm already in trouble today for the educational book thing that I said. But no, I understand. I understand.
It's a book from a Harvard professor, John.
I know you guys get Harvard professors on the Bedley Brothers. It still amazes me. How do you guys do it? I don't know. You and Tim Bedley is amazing at getting all those guests for you because I don't know how he does it. It's not you. You can't be getting.
I just
guests.
almost spit water out of my mouth, John.
I was trying to make you spit water out of your mouth on that one. So anyway, if you don't know how the Bedley Brothers work, Tim is the editor and putter-upper of the podcast. Scott is the organizer of the guests. But I'm sure, right? But we're not saying Tim doesn't have. Tim, of course, has input on what. But yeah, Scott's the person that has to try and find them, right? How do you begin to flag down a Harvard professor? Do you just reach out to him on Twitter? Is that how you do it?
Well, the whole reason we bring anybody on our show is because we feel like they're going to have a voice that impacts what an actual classroom teacher is doing. And the whole reason we started doing that is because so many classroom teachers, us included, don't have time to go to conferences, don't have the money, don't have, we don't want to leave our families for as often times as you see a lot of people going to conferences. I'm like, really? Your family doesn't miss you? Or you're gone so much. But, it was more a sense to say, hey, we want to bring what's relevant and research-based to classroom teachers that can't get out. And so that's how we pick our guests. We look around and say, hey, who's talking about something that's relevant? Who's talking about something that can really impact students directly? And then how do we bring them on to share and amplify their voice to our audience? We're no Ellen for sure, but we're no Techlandia for sure. But we're just trying to share.
We don't know what Techlandia even is, right?
We're trying to share people like that who need to be heard that can kind of get buried in all the noise of all the other education writing that's out there, John.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I got buried. Did you hear I got buried today? I was getting buried in notifications today. I don't think I even tweeted this weekend, Scott. To be quite honest with you, I think I tweeted once on Friday, and I answered a George Couros question, and it got me so
On the
much
Twitters?
on the Twitters. Right, I answered the George Couros question, and eventually, I think he
Wait,
worked as, and a couple people saw it.
so George put out a question.
So George's question was, "Who is an
George
educator
Couros,
that?"
right?
Yes, I'm
You're
sorry,
talking
not
about
the Alec, not Alec Couros, the really, really smart one. George, the kind of smart one, right? So anyway, of the Couros brothers, I
he's the
think
man of EdTech calendar.
it's right. It's kind of like you and Tim, right? So there's you, the kind of okay one, and then there's Tim, the really smart one, right? Is that it? You're like the George Couros of the Bedley brothers.
Without any Twitter followers or any like.
right,
Yeah.
just without the Twitter book.
Oh
Just
gosh,
without the voice and
that
the
is
Twitter
a
followers.
that's a
And the
horrible
blog.
analogy and probably pretty accurate.
But no, so anyway,
Thanks
so
a lot,
George,
John.
we're just kidding. George Couros, George Couros, and so his tweet was, I don't know. I mean, they have the algorithm set up so poorly now on the Twitters. It's hard. I wish I just got like the tweets in real time and they could forget their algorithm. I don't know why they're trying to go all Zuckerberg on us. But so anyway, so George says, who's an educator that hasn't written a book that you wish they did? And so what do you think my answer was, Scott?
I thought you were gonna say me, but I've written a book. John,
Right. So no, I wasn't even thoughtful with it. I was late at night and I was just like, I wish everyone would stop writing books and start taking care of their own classroom, school, or district. Then education would be in a better place. That's all I said. And boy, and that was like,
So
you
you
2
didn't
days
like
earlier.
say, I wish that so and so would not write books. You just said you wish people would not write books and take care of their classroom
Yeah.
or school or district. You didn't like call anyone out by name, John, right?
No, I just read you that was my exact answer. That's
Okay.
a verbatim exact answer, right?
Gotcha.
So then there was this cool guy, Jimmy Sapia. It looks like I didn't really ever engage with him before, and he kind of like agreed with me, right? And he's like, feeling like we're in this age of Twitter celebrities. All I've been seeing is promotion of books and promoting other friends' books. I'm all for educators writing. I learn and grow from it, but our main focus is kids. Anything wrong with that quote,
No,
Scott?
I 1,000% agree that our main focus is kids.
Right. So he's basically kind of agreeing with me, and I said it's funny. I redid my tweet a little bit, but that was the verbatim one I wrote. So then I responded to him and just said, yeah, it's funny. I had EduFamous in my reply, but edited it. There are a lot of people writing books that I don't even think have solved their classroom or school problems. I agree. If all the edu authors have it all figured out, it isn't translating to systemic change. This is kind of where we've always been going with this, Scott, right? We've been like, why are people with voices, kind of comes full circle now, why are people with voices not making the changes that we need to? Like, if you have a good voice, then, like, if you're a George Couros has a huge audience. George Couros goes and speaks to thousands of administrators, I'm sure, if not hundreds, like, per month. And right, and he came into our district and he did a good job. He shook up our ones, but it was mostly talking about Twitter. Why can't we shake up some more? And, you asked George what to do, and I'm not saying it as a criticism of George, but why are these books all coming out? And it just seems like, I don't know, we know a few of the people that are writing these books, Scott, and I could name names if I wanted to, but it's not Hop Sings. This isn't Seinfeld. I'm not Elaine Bennis. So I'm not naming names, but obviously I would have had to have known these people and worked with them at some point. These people they're writing books, and they're not writing books for the reason of they want to share their ideas or they want a voice. They're writing their books because they want a voice, they want to make money, they want to be EduFamous is where I'm going with this. I have no problem with a person wanting to share their voice or share some ideas. That's why Twitter used to be awesome. People used to like share and say, like, here's a cool idea that I tried out. What do you think about this? Or they could ask questions and get answers. And now it's just like the person that tweets the most wins. That's what I feel like it is. The person that tweets the most about their book wins. And I don't know, Scott, it just seems funny that it's like I was just watching the Super Bowl. I had like 75 notifications in my feed for this and that. And then this person's getting offended and that person. I'm like, I'm not really saying all teachers that do this are like that. I'm just saying some of the ones that I know.
You could never say that, because I think
Right.
both you and I could name several people that are using their platform to try to make a stand against some of these things that are not healthy for kids. Like
Right.
there is not ever a blanket statement that would be fair.
Right. I wasn't trying to make a blanket statement. My statement, what I just said,
No,
statement.
it was you were answering a question.
I was
It
answering a question.
specific about who would you want to see write a book. And your
you know
answer
what?
was no one.
Nobody. I don't. There's too many books out there right now. Everybody's writing a book. Here's another one. I can even take it a step further with educational technology, since that's the field that I'm in right now. I think that right now, February 4th, I feel like all educational technology conferences should take 1 year off starting right now. And I'm talking about all of them. And that's a
Except for
blanket
ISTE, where we're going to go hang out this summer.
No, I mean ISTE too. All of it. Right? We'll just
What?
go and hang out in Chicago.
John,
No.
I finally get to be on like a session at ISTE, and you're going to want to cancel it. Thanks a lot, man.
But right, I'm just saying. I feel like there's some validity in canceling all ed tech conferences. I feel like there's nothing. Is the newest thing out there, Scott? Is the newest sensation Flipgrid out there? You know what? I can figure out Flipgrid. That's what makes it a good tool. I can go here, press the video button. Hi, I'm John Samuelson. I think that this book is great, or this book stinks because blah, 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 blah. Hit, send it to the board, and there it is.
By the way, John, my class is going to be podcasting a play performance, a musical, and we did auditions for the parts
through
using Flipgrid. Yeah,
that's pretty cool. See, now that's cool. But that's about the only. But that's about the only thing that I've seen right now where it seems like it's really catching on. I feel like, we absolutely love Seesaw in our district, and I think that Seesaw is cool for a lot of things. I feel it's Seesaw, and I mean we love Seesaw, right? And so I mean I feel like there's good things out there, but I feel like we really need to give teachers. There's nothing new coming out. The ed tech conferences used to be like, how do I go to one-to-one Chromebooks? Well, I feel like in our district, we're kind of there now. We've gotten the device. I feel like a lot of people have the devices now. So now, are people really doing cool things and innovating with them? Or are they just doing digital worksheets with them, right? And then that's the thing. And yeah, there's a lot of people I support for as far as books go. Number one, we'll put up Tara Linney, who we had on, the STEAM Team podcast, and we talked about her, and I backed her Kickstarter for her book, which was Achieving Gender Equity and Teaching Coding. I think that's a cool subject. I don't feel like everybody's doing that. I have that one that's there. Also I have, Shelley Terrell wrote that book, Hacking Digital Learning Strategies. She actually interviewed me, and I'm in the book for a little bit. So obviously I'm not against educational books. I was very honored to be in the book. She even interviewed me on her podcast. It was nice. Those things are cool, right? I'm not against people having a voice, but it does seem like the people that were attacking me were white males, and the two people that I just mentioned aren't white males. So those are people I support. Do I always have to support white males because I'm a white male? I know I'm a white male. White males, I don't know. I feel like you got to start calling them on their stuff right now, and that includes me. Nobody ever wastes their time calling me to the carpet. So it's like, it's just so funny. I think that this Twitter stuff is hilarious. It's the first time I've been on Twitter where a tweet actually got some response from something. Meanwhile, I've tweeted some great tweets, I think, like musical tweets. How about that one, Scott? Did you ever see I showed you that tweet, right, with that band that used the 7-second delay on Facebook Live, and they did their song and they looped it? That's one of the best videos ever. I don't know why that doesn't get way more plays. That's a great tweet right there. That song, right?
Yeah, John.
But then you'd say, "Oh, I don't want any more educational books," and everybody loses their minds. I think it's wrong. Quit losing your minds, people. I'm not saying that you can't have a voice. I'm not saying you can't write a book. I'm just saying, who do I want to see write a book? Nobody. I don't want to see anybody write a book right now.
I'm just going to say this, John. Who cares what you say? And I don't mean this in a rude way.
Oh,
But
right.
who cares?
Nobody
It's just
listens
your
to
opinion. It's your opinion. Like that's what that question was. Is what's your opinion on who might be? It's just yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. Who cares? Right. I feel like by the people sitting there crabbing about stuff, they were giving it more play. If you would have just been quiet about it, then people are like, oh, you're talking about me. It reminds me of the Portlandia skit where in the last season of Portlandia, Fred says to Carrie like, we're finally making you a partner at the law firm or whatever, and then she starts giving her speech. She's like talking about the sexism and things like that, and he goes, "Now you're not talking about me, are you? You're not talking about me, right?" She's like, "No, you're good, you're good." And then everybody starts like, nobody wants to take credit for everything. I'm like, we're all part of the problem. We're all co-conspirators, and me included. I wish people would start with a voice, would start going back to what we were saying before, would start challenging the system. You know what? There's a bunch of people that could get together. You have power if you're a principal of a school. You have power. You can choose to be bogged down with little things, little initiatives from your district, or you could choose to find another principal, band together and say, no, we're not going to do this. When we interviewed on Techlandia back in the day, when we still had Kurt and Allison Scott, we interviewed Mary Ann Whitaker. I still remember her name, from Texas, who said, we're not, she's just a administrator, a superintendent of a small town in Texas, Scott. But what she said was, she said, and she needed so much help to get on the Google Hangout for us to interview her. But she said, I'm not caring about tests anymore. We are not putting up banners for this is this kind of a school. We are just going to try and focus on the kids. One administrator I've run across, one superintendent so far that had that message. Why can't the superintendent of the district next door go, you know what? You're right. You're darn right, Mary Ann Whitaker. I still remember her name. I only talked to her one time in my life. I remember that podcast. It's like, that lady, we should be lifting her up. And instead we don't, because she barely knows how to use a Google Hangout, even with her tech guys helping her. It was the hardest thing to get her on that stuff. But I don't know. I don't know. People, take a stand. Take a stand against something. Try and change things. They're not going great. Try and change things, right? Wherever you are. Scott, you can change your classroom. And
I can change my classroom, and I do. And I try to do what I can, John. I'm not perfect. I can get better. I know I can get better and do more.
Yes.
But I'm going to do it. I am. I'm also doing stuff.
Right. You're doing stuff. Scott Bedley could write a book of cool things that you're doing to innovate your classroom. And the funny thing is, you think that you're not very good at all the stuff that you do. And you're very, critical, self-critical, and whatever. And you're like, I'm not a tech person or whatever. Meanwhile, you're probably going to, first of all, you never take credit for it, but you're one of the main people behind Global School Play Day, which is a way that a teacher has decided with a bunch of other teachers and administrators in your area, right? You guys all got together and you kind of organized and you talked about it, and you're like, okay, you know what? And it was from a Bedley Brothers podcast. You guys were like, you know what? We're sick of this. People need to quit being so serious with time in their school day. There's some great things you can do with unstructured play. Kids need to learn how to play, and they don't get that as much anymore. And when we were kids, we got that a little bit. I felt like we got recess all the time. And then you go all the way now where they're like, oh, well, that's a waste of time. It's not a waste of time for kids to play together. So there you go.
John,
I'm giving you props for that.
But it is just like taking a step and doing something. There's a lot of talking and not doing. And that's kind of, to me, what you're saying is that there's enough books out there that are talking. We need more action.
We need action. Exactly. That's exactly what I'm saying. We need more action. We need more people willing to take a bullet for something. And if the bullet that I have to take is, I said what on Twitter 48 hours ago when I was really tired and said, I don't want any more authors writing books. What I'm really saying is, yes, I would like to see some action on stuff. I don't want any more ed tech conferences for a year. I know that's not practical, but really we need more people having some action steps and doing some cool stuff. You know, here's the move, Scott. Ready? Here's the move for
what's the move, John?
conferences. The move is, I don't think Ryan O'Donnell was that far off last year when he had his little barbecue backyard picnic thing. The move is, we get a house on the Oregon coast and we rent it for like 4 days. Big old nice house on where you'd want to take your family for a vacation. We invite like 10 people, and then we go, okay, this is what we're going to do. And we just sit down for like a day and we just brainstorm stuff. We brainstorm solutions or come up with cool lessons or whatever we do, or how are we going to get computer science to,
Dude,
you
we've
know,
been talking
how are we going to
with
get
Ruben
equity?
Hoffman about doing that for years.
I know, and it's still the way to go. Why do we have to limit it to, like, that's all to me ISTE is anymore, except for last year where I feel like there were some really good, I saw some really good people last year, but I feel like Mitch Resnick doesn't do ISTE every year. I feel like he was trying to, you know, promote the new Scratch, which is out by now, by the way. If you want to test out Scratch on your iPad, you can test out real Scratch on your iPads.
Oh, nice, John.
Did you know that?
Is it free for all?
Oh yeah. It's normal. You can start it went from alpha to beta now. I'll tell you what it is in a second. Let me look, because I think it's just preview.scratch.mit.edu. And if you go there on an iPad, is it there? And so anyway, you can do like some of those things. Like let's see, is it there? It is preview.
You can do things, and you can start things, and you don't need to be, and you don't even need to be one of these bigger voices in education. I mean, I'm certainly not, John. And when Eric Sable and Tim and Misty and Oliver and I and Bethany got together and did Global School Play Day, we never thought in the 4th year we'd have 58 nations now. Over 300, almost 330,000 kids around the world, like joining in this just from tweets and Facebook posts. Like literally that's all we've done.
Yeah.
And yet somehow this thing is, you know, somehow people in Vietnam and Cambodia and the United Arab Emirates and Taiwan and Malaysia and Latvia and Bangladesh and Indonesia, somehow South Africa, somehow Australia, Canada, somehow all of these people see the value and are on it.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
And that's the thing, right? I mean, it doesn't take much. You buy a domain, you get a website. It's not very costly. You get
John,
some people.
we're not trying to make money. We're not trying to. This is not about us.
Right.
This is about seeing something that needed to change in education and doing something about it. Not saying how can I angle it for myself.
Right, because you guys really don't take. That's why we'll give you credit right now. You guys really don't take credit. You don't even have your names or your. Do you have even your faces on the website? If you have to look back through it, you don't.
I think our names are like down in small writing at the very bottom of everything else. We're not, we're not trying to promote ourselves. It's not about that. It's not about.
Right.
I don't know.
But I feel like some people. I feel like if some people did that, what they would do is they would be like, they're like, oh, you know what? We've done this. Now we're going to write a book about how we've transformed and we've gotten all these people on. And right, so you had 283,000 people last year. And now you're going to have 330 and probably more as people come on, probably over 350. And you're going to 1,000 students, and people are going to be like, how can I angle this for like, oh, I'm going to give an inspirational talk, or I want to be the Q closing keynote now because I'm going to do this. I feel like there's people out there who have bad intentions like that, and they're not really doing it for the right reasons. They're doing it for selfish reasons. I don't feel like they're really doing it for kids. They're like, how can I angle this story so I can become a keynote speaker and make money, right? And you guys just don't do that. So we'll give you credit right now for Global School Play Day because that's coming up, and I will put this podcast out tonight. And then,
but John, it really is about all the people. It's about all the people.
All the people working
together. Stepped up into leadership, like all the people that have stepped up into leadership to make it happen. It's not that we made it happen. It's that We just saw a need and we tried to change that. And
Mhm.
people jumped on with that. It doesn't have to, we didn't have to go, let's write a book and so we can make change in education. Like, it just doesn't need to happen that way.
No, it
It
doesn't.
needs
It's
to
like
be these grassroots, not like a false grassroots effort to get a Twitter chat going, but a grassroots effort to actually make a difference for kids.
right. You don't have to put on your little Twitter bio, you know, Alaska EdChat founder, Oregon EdChat founder, right? You can do things. Just do something, right?
I
Say
gotta
something.
hold
Do
on. I gotta
something.
go change my Twitter bio.
Yeah, go change your Twitter bio to Global School Playdate Mastermind. Anyway, so we're
I have
excited
it.
for
I
the.
know, John. I better change that before you get mad at me.
I'll tell you,
I don't have. I hardly anybody's following me anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, and they don't know which account to follow anyway, right? I mean, if you added up all the followers from all your different 7 accounts, you'd have at least 2,000 followers. No, you'd have more than that.
It's so unimportant to me, John. I mean, if people want to follow me, I put out stuff when I can. When I find something important, I'll tweet at it, but it's not a thing for me. I know some people it's a thing and they want to have it and it's like their game, and if they have a bunch of followers and they feel good, but you know, it's just not my thing.
It's not my thing. It used to be my thing. I don't know.
You got like 16,000 followers. It doesn't have to be your thing.
I know. I grew up. And then and 16,000 followers, and my first tweet that got any kind of play in like since I've moved to Oregon in the last 4 years was, I don't think educators should write books anymore. And I said it to George Couros, and that got everybody aflutter. Goodness gracious, people. Come on, man. You're missing the bigger picture. The bigger picture is, let's do something. I'm like, get together with some smart people and make something happen. Do something. Do something. Do something positive. Organize an after-school club.
Yeah,
that's right. Right. Why let them have all the fun?
If schools in Pakistan are doing play day, why aren't you doing play day?
Right. Play a little bit.
If just Saudi Arabia, you too. Do it.
Yeah.
If it's happening in Kuwait, and it is, and United Arab Emirates, and why aren't you doing it? There's no excuse.
Just for an hour. Although if you do it longer, I heard you get a badge.
You not only get a badge, but you really do see a big difference in how the kids are impacted by it in a positive way by the day. All day long is, to me, the only way to go. But if you got an hour, give an hour.
That's right. It's not. That's good enough. Well, so anyway, that's interesting. And by the way, if you do want to see Scratch on your iPad for the first time as HTML5 and not as Flash, go to preview.scratch.mit.edu. So just put preview in front of your normal Scratch site, and you can start to see what they're going to do, and they're going to keep updating it as it goes. There'll probably be way more sprites and things like that. Sorry to go all Steam team on you, but that's just where my mind is at. I'm always thinking.
Everybody loves a good sprite or two. So
that's right. I mean, good sprites, bad sprites, whatever. You know what I was learning about a lot, just talking about that is
you never love Sprite.
LeBron
Tim
James.
Bedley.
Oh, really? Well, that's almost the same. LeBron James, Tim Bedley, they're almost the same person.
Same stature.
Yeah, same workout ethic, right? Same diet.
Yeah, I mean, Tim is going on the Tom Brady diet. I don't know if he'll change after the Super Bowl loss, but he's full vegan. Yeah, he's full, maybe. Wow, that guy stepped into it, huh?
Yeah, did you know? Did I tell you that I saw him play in high school, the high school state championship game, which he did not win. He lost, and it was a horrible call. But he was the quarterback for my old school district's high school football team.
Ames?
So there you go. Yeah, in Ames, Westlake. He was a Westlake High School graduate. So I actually saw Nick Foles play in the state championship game a bunch of years ago.
Is that the same place where iPad Palooza was born, John?
That is birthplace of iPad Palooza, right? Very good. You're right. In fact, I was just
It sounds like Lollapalooza.
It does sound a lot like Lollapalooza. There, but that it's an idea, right? They tried an idea. That's good for them. That's what we're saying. Try an idea.
Yeah.
Now I feel like I don't feel like they do
It's
iPad
like
Palooza
naming your
anymore.
dog Sarah Jessica Barker.
I think that's a great name for a dog. But yeah, you know what I did? I used
You
I
like that name,
reconnected
John?
this-
You can't get that right, huh?
No, it's great.
Sarah Jessica
I
Barker.
Did you just come up with that, or
Oh
you
no,
had
I
that?
totally stole it.
Okay. So I reconnected with my old people. They wanted a Flipgrid video for one of my old school districts. So I actually got up in the morning and I tried to look at, well, I mean, I can't really look more disheveled than I look now, but I did. I looked more disheveled, and I made a video real quick at like 7 in the morning because I made a different one, but my old boss thought it was too hostile or whatever. So he censored me on the Flipgrid and took it off, and then said, you can make another one if you're not making fun of people so much. And I was like, okay, then I'll make fun of myself. Thanks. And so I did. I just looked horrible.
You're pretty good at making fun of other people, John. I'm just gonna.
I know.
say.
What's wrong with me? I'm such an evil person, I guess, right? I guess these people, I mean, I don't know.
You
guess
made me
these
cry
people
on
don't
6
deserve it.
occasions.
Have I made you cry? Where
6 occasions, John.
you were just watching This Is Us. That's all you were doing. Which is supposedly is
Yeah.
the greatest show ever that I've never seen or know nothing about.
And I just finished one about a boy. What's that movie called?
Boyhood? You know,
Yeah, Boyhood.
So Jake Duncan was voxing me the other day, and Jake Duncan is a very, very good ed tech person. Jake Duncan is really
awesome.
concerned with why you're not watching Boyhood. He thinks there's really something wrong with you. And then he's like, why would he not watch that movie? It's a great movie. And I just said, no, he just thinks it's too long, right? It's like 2.5 hours. And
I don't watch any. You know what movies I watch? None.
Yeah, I know. They offered me a free movie when I switched over cable providers, and I'm like, oh, what would I want? I don't know.
I canceled cable. I was like, peace out, cable.
Well, remember, I was going to cancel my cable, but then they were like, we'll pay your Amazon Prime free for a year and blah, 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 blah. And I was
Oh, wow.
so they paid for my Amazon Prime, and then they gave me free installation, which was another $75. And then they only charged me $35 a month. So I was like,
wow.
Okay, right. They paid for basically my first 6 months of cable. So I was like, okay, I can pay for a half a year of cable and see if I like it or not.
Yeah, then you just cancel.
Right, hopefully. But you know me, I'll forget.
Oh, that's why you set up calendars.
That's right. I'll set up my new calendar reminder. Anyway, so what else we got? Is that it? I really want to put this episode up. We want people to go to Global School Play Day. Scott,
yes.
Recap of
Yes, we do,
Wait,
John.
are you working with a teacher in my school district? You said? Did I?
Yeah,
You're working with Kruger?
We're going to connect our class. Yeah, we're going to connect our classes tomorrow
on Skype.
And we're gonna on Skype. We're gonna have plan together and share about what ideas the kids have for their Global School Play Day, because it's about them planning it. It's not about teachers setting it up. And then after Global School Play Day, we'll get back together and we'll reflect on how our days went and what they each learned about it. And should be awesome, man. I've done it before with a class in Canada and another class in what was that other class, like Minnesota or something like that. And it's great. It's fantastic. Yeah, almost Super Bowl.
So you're gonna do that tomorrow?
We're connecting tomorrow. I'm connecting my class with a couple of classes tomorrow to kind of talk about what our Global School Play Day is going to look like.
Oh, wow. So what time are you doing Beaverton?
Like 1:15.
Okay, maybe I'll go over there and tape it or something. Kruger, she keeps trying to borrow my stuff from me. She's one of those teachers. She's great, but she's like trying to get me to borrow my stuff. And I'm like, it's my personal stuff. Come on, man. Did you get your own stop motion kit?
Can I borrow that, John?
Now she's tricked me, because now I'll go and tape you guys while you do that. And now I'm bringing it down to her because she's been bugging me for it for a while. She's really cool. But yeah, she's always
so we're gonna connect tomorrow.
Person. That's cool. So Global School Play Day is Wednesday. We will put this podcast up on a Sunday night, which will actually be Monday morning pretty much for the rest of the world.
Right.
So we will put this. So you still have, if you listen to this right away, and at least 7 people listen to this right away on Monday, right, Scott? You think at least 14
Yeah, they have a
people.
chance. Sign up, even if they just do it and register after. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
We just want to know how many people are actually participating. We're excited. We have some partnerships and some people reaching out that have a lot bigger stretch that want to start participating in it. We'll probably announce that pretty soon, but it's just exciting to see that there's so many teachers from around the world and principals and administrators and people that really believe in this thing that we're trying to do for kids. And
Right.
John, 327,000. I mean, we're talking 15,000 classrooms that are probably doing
Mhm.
this.
Mhm.
And I'm guessing like it's going to get to 350 at least by Wednesday, maybe more, maybe 375. Who knows? It's already
Okay.
at almost 330 right now. So that means it's gone up since, and then it last 2 days, like almost 30,000. So
Yeah.
I think we could easily be at close to 100,000 more than last year, which has been our growth. So every year, 100,000 more kids participating, which is fantastic. We wish it was a million, but hey, listen, it's awesome how many kids are actually going to be involved with this.
I got a fortune cookie today, and it said something like, "Be patient, and good things will happen." I think that was literally
Yeah.
what the fortune cookie said, and I was like, "That's when I." Then I got on Twitter and saw that I had 76 notifications after Super Bowl. I'm like, "Oh my
You're like, be
gosh, I'm
patient.
so lose my
Twitter
patience."
will happen.
There wasn't really, I don't know, there wasn't really anybody that said anything that really changed my way of thinking. To be honest with you,
I
I
do
thought
want to call out 2 states, John. There are
okay,
2
which
states that do not have any registrants. Still, 2 states.
okay,
Do you want to take a guess at them, the states?
sure, I would like to take a guess. Give me a region.
They're kind of in the Midwestish area.
Nebraska.
Nebraska's one. Yeah,
Okay, I can get
Nebraska
Nebraska.
has no schools participating in global school play.
Okay.
There's 58 nations, no Nebraska.
Okay, I can get you Nebraska. I'm gonna hook you up on Nebraska. I'm gonna do some magic
All right,
after
we'll
the
see.
show. I bet you I can get you Nebraska. Okay, so am I going to the east or to the west of Nebraska now?
Well, I can't. It's close to Nebraska. That's all I'm gonna
Okay,
give
so
you.
it's
I'm not
South
gonna give you that
Dakota.
much.
South Dakota.
No, South Dakota. No, they're participating.
North Dakota, Wyoming.
We got him. Got him. Got him. Got him.
Iowa.
A lot of friends out in Kansas.
Iowa?
Not Iowa. A lot of friends in Iowa too, John.
Oh, okay. All right, so I'm missing it. It's not like Rhode Island or someplace, huh?
Well, it's a place that Marnie probably knows a little bit about.
Oh, it's Idaho?
No.
Utah. Utah has nobody?
Yes. Utah has nobody, John.
Oh my goodness, that's terrible. It's Nebraska and Utah. Those are like
I
Marty
know.
roots there.
Last year, I think it was like
Rhode
West
Island?
Virginia and like Delaware.
Oh, I could see those
I
because
mean,
they're
there's-
smaller states.
Yeah, but one school, like, come on.
Okay.
Somebody's got to be on Twitter from those.
Okay,
wait a
I'm gonna get
second.
you.
I think we might have a Nebraska that just registered.
See, I told you. I was doing that while you were talking.
And I'm not even kidding, John.
Yeah.
Valerie, maybe I shouldn't read her name out loud.
Okay, Dad.
Bryant Elementary School just registered in Kearney, Nebraska.
Kearney, Nebraska.
It's spelled Kearney though, right? Kear. Kearney, Nebraska. That's our first school. So now we're just down to Utah.
Okay, we can get Utah.
I can't believe we just got it. We've got schools in Dubai. We've got schools in Cambodia. We've got schools in Ho Chi Minh City,
right,
and no Utah.
Utah's still suffering a little bit. Utah's still suffering a little bit because they're still kind of reeling. I just saw Book of Mormon the other day, and I know why now. They're reeling a little bit from Book of Mormon, the play, and how successful it's been.
It's been so long.
I will try and circumvent that, and I feel like I know some teachers in Utah.
All right, we'll make it happen.
I feel like I'm going to. I feel like right now I'm going to call out the person. Okay,
Call them out.
I'm gonna reach. I know somebody that is down in the southern part of Utah, kind of close to the Nevada border, and I went to Pi
Okay.
Academy with him. I'm going to reach out to him right now, and I'm going to get you Utah before morn.
Wow. I
Well,
hope.
I mean, I'll get
Because,
it. I'll get it to you tomorrow. Tomorrow, not before morn. That sounds stupid.
I mean, the fact that we went through over 327,750
Mhm.
registrants before we got anyone from
Nebraska.
Nebraska was like,
Well, you know, Josh Allen
there's good people in Nebraska.
Josh Allen from the Dads and Ed podcast. I mean, he used to be in Nebraska, but now he
Right.
teaches in Iowa. Yeah. So that's why, or else we could get you that. Christina Peters not there anymore.
Huh?
Working in Washington, right? There's some good Nebraska people.
There
So anyway.
definitely are.
There are.
And now there's one more good Nebraska person.
My cousin's a teacher in Nebraska. My only cousin. Should reach out to her. All right. So anyway, I feel like it'll be successful. I feel like I will get this podcast up. We feel like we're way under an hour, which is good for us. Maybe people could actually listen to it.
That's huge.
That's huge. And I still stand by my statement on Twitter. I do not apologize for saying I do not want any more educational books. You know what? I'm going to substitute. I want educational action, not educational books. How about that for now? And that'll be good enough. And like I said, I've supported some authors just this year and helped them out. Just not white guys. Sorry, white guys. Sorry if you're offended, white guys, that I don't want to have any more white guys write some books. Sorry about that. You know, I feel like we've got enough white guy voices. We're two white guys, right? We're two. I mean, I don't know. We've got voices. Yeah. We're on this podcast, right? I mean, we can't help it. I was born this way, but I don't know. I don't look to support other white guys right now. I'm not into that. Not into that. I want other people to have a voice besides just white guys.
I think it's important.
The sad thing is,
it's important to have a broad perspective in
right.
what happens in education, because there's always a better contribution than in that single vision.
That single lens. It's like we get that lens all the time. And I may sound like I'm being funny. I'm really not being funny. I'm being actually really serious. If we start up Techlandia again and we start interviewing people, I'm looking for people. And you know what? This is an open call right now because I don't have the Scott Bedley reach of getting like cool Harvard professors that have written awesome books about the horrors of standardized testing. But I'm sitting here in Portland. I'm going to give right now, if anybody is still listening to this, I will give you an open call. If you are an educator doing something cool and you're not looking for EduFame, you just like to highlight the cool work you do with students, you let me know on Twitter and I will do it. And if you're not a white guy, even better. But right, because we're white guys, we know our perspective and you get it all the time. But I'm going to give an open call right now. We're going to start up Techlandia. I'm not going to interview EduFamous people. We are going to go for people that are genuinely doing good work in the classroom. So if you're one of those people, you've got something cool, you just want to talk about it, let us know. We're down. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Scott won't be on there because when Scott does that show, he does it with his brother Tim, and it's a real podcast called The Bedley Brothers. When I do it, it could be called anything. We don't know. And you don't know who else is going to host it with me, but hopefully it's not just me. So anyway.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of speculation about NSYNC getting back together, and it didn't happen.
Yes.
And I know there's a lot of speculation about, the original Techlandia crew getting back together.
They're just not
John,
getting back together.
Are you denying that right now? Are you denying that?
I would love for the original Techlandia crew. We had such a good, it's hard because I was actually talking to one of my old co-hosts the other day, Allison Anderson, and I've moved literally within a 10-mile radius of her. I never see her or talk to her anymore. And it's sad, but you know what? It's not that we're both busy. We're doing different things. And so sometimes we had a good run on Techlandia, and I'm still trying to find the mojo back. And I
What?
feel like I've got the itch. Well, I mean, but like Scott, like the real tech. This is just us crabbing about stuff, right? I love this show. This show is my favorite. Obviously, we don't do any pre-work.
That's not true. That's not totally
We
true.
really don't. We didn't
That's
even make a
mostly
play.
true.
That is mostly true. So anyway, I mean, I love coming on and talking with you and riffing, and I feel like we tell it like it is. It's a good one. I like if I can get Brian out of his graduate classes. We'll talk about the Steam Team podcast. We're actually due to talk to Vicky Sedgwick a week from tomorrow about microbits, which she did at OCQ. Did you go to OCQ?
Oh yeah, I
did
was
not.
definitely at OCQ.
Okay, you weren't. So anyway, I didn't think you were. So anyway, so Vicky Sedgwick did some microbit talk, so we're going to have her on Steam Team. I've been dying to have Vicky Sedgwick forever. I love
She's
Vicky
awesome.
Sedgwick.
She's
Yes.
one person that's in there doing stuff.
She's doing stuff, right?
doing things,
There's a
yes.
lot, and there's not just one person. There's many people out there doing
Yes.
stuff. You're just not tweeting all the time about it because you're doing the stuff.
Go to
Right.
Projects by Jen. Go to Projects by Jen.
Yeah. Jen Wagner's
And
doing stuff.
You'll see Jen Wagner that has been doing awesome
Stuff.
things and providing it. And by the way, John, being ripped off by people on Teachers Pay Teachers.
Yeah. Sad.
So,
Sad because people want a quick buck. But anyway, so we digress right now, but we are going to do the Steam Team, and on February 7th, we're going to try and start going at a consistent time. We've bantered around with Simon Miller being one of them, and we've bantered around with having a little David Terrio action and a little Greg Garner classroom_tech action. Might be the person that might be the three hosts. So you never know.
I love it. 3 white
Yeah.
guys, John. Way to
Three,
go.
I know. I told them that. I'm like, gosh darn it, the 3 white guy thing. But anyway, that's where we're standing right now. And we had a good run with Amy Fadege, but she's a parent now, and she'll now know what I've been suffering with my 4 children, which is lack of time.
Yeah.
So anyway, gosh, I saw a picture.
She's
I
not
saw
too
a picture
unbusy
of
to,
the
like-
baby. Did you see a
She's
picture?
not
I
too
saw.
busy to be like a lead speaker down at Q.
Oh, really? Okay. Is she a lead speaker? Down at Q?
Yeah, she's
Well, she was
one of the featured speakers at Q.
Well, because she's administrator of the year that one year, right? She was administrator of the year. David
Yeah,
Terrio.
that's like a couple years ago.
Okay, it's a couple years. Yeah, she's getting like, she used to be like the young, spunky administrator that was making changes. Now she has a child. I think she might be slowing down a little bit. She's probably not the youngest administrator. She's probably like the 7th youngest administrator.
She is gonna punch you so hard, dude.
She plateaued and now she's on the way down. This is like they're like throwing her a bone at the end of the queue and saying, "Oh, you know what? You can be a featured speaker. It's okay. You're on your way down." We'll soften the blow a little bit. But anyway, so I saw a picture of the baby the other day. Oh my goodness, that baby is cute.
That kid is cute, man.
You
That's
know,
for
I
sure.
don't usually like I'm a very strict liker on my Instagrams, and I liked that one right away. That was a cute little picture of baby.
Yeah,
I'm
it's super
doing
cute kid.
I know. Anyway, so we got to go. But Scott, thank you for taking the time to grump. I needed this. I needed to clear the air.
Hey, John, I consider tonight more like therapy for you. Of
Thank you. Right, and thank you for being my online therapist. I appreciate it.
course.
And we will catch you on the flip side.